What's up, everybody? I am Michael Carvelis, and yes, I am at work, so there is no video. And you're like, well, Michael, how do you do that and get away with it? Well, while I may be on camera, it is 10:45 on the East Coast, and I'm a security guard by regular job. Obviously, the goal is to be a sports media person, but for now, we do what we can. So, I made a tweet this morning, on Friday morning that is, that said the top 8 worst records in the NBA for the upcoming season, okay? I had the Brooklyn Nets with the worst record, Washington Wizards, Utah Jazz, New Orleans, good lord, Charlotte Hornets, I'm getting old, New Orleans Pelicans, Chicago Bulls, Phoenix Suns, and the Portland Trailblazers. That was my top 8. So, what I thought I would do, because granted, the show that I'm going to have my NBA full predictions, like most improved player, defensive player of the year, rookie of the year, MVP, East Finals, West Finals, NBA champion, is going to be September the 15th. Okay? That is literally 2 months away, give or take. So I thought I'd do you all a favor, if you care. I think you might care if you clicked on this. Like, why would anybody click on this unless you didn't already know who I was? So we're going to break it down. Just the top 8 worst records. And you're like, well, this sounds boring. Well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the rosters, and then I'm going to talk about the head coach, and we're going to say, well, why are they so low? But it might take a few minutes here, but I think we're going to have fun with this, all right? So the worst record for me in the NBA for the upcoming season is going to be the Brooklyn Nets. Now, unlike my NFL season, I will not have the exact record because it's an 82-game season. And if we're being real, that's a lot. I don't feel like saying, well, they might win 15 games. That just sounds dumb to me, okay? We're going to first talk about the Nets head coach, okay? The Brooklyn Nets head coach is a 42-year-old guy named Jordi Fernandez, okay? Jordi Fernandez. I believe he coached the team last year, and if that is true, then the team was 26-56, okay? Now, we are now going to look at the roster. And by the way, I'm not saying international coaches cannot coach, but his experience is basically Barcelona, okay? This is the NBA, so we're going to go with what we got, okay? Here's the roster, okay? And I'm not going to go through like the entire thing, but notable names, all right? We got Cam Thomas, who I actually drafted in fantasy like a year or two ago, and people in the sleeper app are like, "You're an idiot." I'm like, "Well, he actually ended up scoring, had some really good games, but that doesn't make sense to you." Drew Timme, really good summer league. I liked him at Gonzaga. Come on, man. Nick Claxton, good center. Some people say he should have been the Lakers center. I'm not going to go down that route. Michael Porter Jr. from the Denver Nuggets. Constant injury risk. You get it. They also have, good lord, I mean, not a lot. Terrence Mann, remember that Clippers guy? Not Trey Mann, but Terrence Mann and Noah Clowney. Pretty much the guys that stand out, okay? When I say this roster is terrible, it is awful. You are hoping that Michael Porter Jr. is going to go insane. And that's if you want to win 10 games. Like, I'm not kidding. This team is awful. And I don't, like, do we see a scenario? Let's be real. Do we see a scenario where the Brooklyn Nets win more than 26 games next year? I don't. All right? I absolutely do not. They're the worst team in the NBA. I don't think it may be close, but look at my second worst team. Okay, I've got the Washington Wizards. Now, Wizards were 18-64 last year, but we're gonna look at their roster. All right, and I'm also gonna look at their head coach here for the record. The Wizards head coach right now, oh Lord, Brian Keefe. Great. So Brian Keefe is a 49-year-old. He was with UNLV in 1997. I don't. He became the head coach last season, but it was like in May, so that was like kind of like when the season was over. So I believe he's actually had. So he should have a full season under his belt. So he's got this guy has got the 18-64 under his resume, all right? But let's look at these players. Why are they better than the Nets? But why are they still terrible? You know what's funny? I actually like some of these players. Like, we've got Alex Sarr, who some people thought he should have been above Zachary Ricochet for the number one pick for the Hawks. They went with Ricochet. Alex Sarr had a really good summer league, by the way, if that helps anybody. It doesn't. Marcus Smart, I mean, come on. Still good, never been great. Chris Middleton. The Bucks exiled him, by the way. They got Malcolm Brogdon, who I've always liked. I liked him out of Virginia. He's never done anything more than be a decent player. CJ McCollum, who is ever since he was Damian Lillard's sidekick, is CJ better than Dame? No, not really. He's been with the Pelicans, was decent there for like a year, and now he's exiled to the Wizards. Bilal Coulibaly, I forgot how to say that, but he's raw talent. Think G.G. Jackson in Memphis. Corey Kispert, who I like, more so of a 2K legend, though. Marvin Bagley, who's one of the worst top picks in history. So that's who you got, all right? Now, combined with their record last year, and they started the season with Kyle Kuzma, so now they're going to have Chris Middleton, as if that makes a whole much more sense. Do I think they win more games than the Brooklyn Nets? With that roster, by default, you have to. But not only were they terrible last year, they were 8-32 at home. That is historically bad. Like every other team in the NBA, won at least 10 games at home. The Wizards won 8, all right? DC hates basketball, at least the Wizards they do. Like, change them back to the Bullets, don't quote me on that. But yeah, Wizards, again, decent names if they're like supporting cast members on a championship team, but who's the number one? Is it CJ? Can he stay healthy? Is it Chris Middleton? Can he stay healthy? I don't know I feel like they're waiting for another top 5 pick. And there's no shame in that unless you've been terrible for the last 10 years. And even with John Wall. Actually, the more I think about it, the Wizards might be one of the worst franchises in history. They are probably more famous for having their name be the Bullets years and years, like in the 70s, than they are for having a good team. Like the John Wall era. That is peak Washington Wizards right now. And that's insane. That is awful. So we're not going to harp on the Wizards the whole time here, but they weren't good. They finished 2-8 down the stretch, by the way, in case you're wondering. You're not, but they're absolutely atrocious. And like I said, the roster is good if they're supporting cast members on a championship team. If they're not that, we're in a lot of trouble, all right? Now, my number 3 worst team is going to be the Utah Jazz, all right? Now, Utah Jazz, they were 17-65 last year, all right? The Utah Jazz's head coach, now there were a lot of media members who liked this guy. A 37-year-old Will Hardy, by the way. His high school was actually in Richmond, Virginia. I'm from Richmond, never heard of St. Christopher's, and that's because I was only there for the first 3 or 4 years of my life. Interesting note here, Will Hardy is actually 6'6". That's That's interesting. I don't know why I need to know that, but now we do. All right, so the Utah Jazz, who we got here? Kyle Filipowski. And you're like, who was that? Well, Kyle Filipowski led the Summer League with 29 points per game. They got Lauri Markkanen, who was a really good fantasy steal a year or two ago. They've got everyone's dream center in Walker Kessler, because he's a shot blocking and like sensation. They've also got Colin Sexton, young bull. They call him that on the court, not in the sheets, by the way. Unbelievable. Ace Bailey, did he want to play in Utah? Is he also not a Mormon? Probably both yes to that. R.J. Lewis Jr., actually, I forgot where he went. He was, it was St. John's. He was supposed to be better than he was in like the last game he played in the college was like terrible. R.J. Lewis Jr. was benched like in his final game, like down the stretch. And I was like, what the heck? I think it was John Calipari, just in case you're wondering, you're not. Kyle Anderson and Kevin Love provided veteran presence. So this right here is interesting. If I'm the Utah Jazz, and I'm not a Mormon, I'm nowhere near Utah, probably will never go there in my life unless there's some big lacrosse event. I don't care. But, so that being said, it's very tempting to take this pretty quietly good, talented roster. You kind of want to wait another year for like another top 5, 10 pick. All right. And that's, I just think it's interesting. Again, Colin Sexton, Walker Kessler, Ace Bailey, Lauri Markkanen. That's 4 guys right there who aren't terrible, but they're also not like they're good young pieces to have, but it's also very scary because that could go south quickly. I give credit to Will Hardy if he's that good. I give credit to the Jazz young players. This is probably the best young roster they've had in minutes, but that being said, they're not going to return to form anytime soon. But they get the number 3 worst record. Could be worse, right? And then again, you're on this video. It's like, come on now. Worst records? They're not that bad, but they're in the top 8 worst. Oh, well, I get it. Whatever. Charlotte Hornets are number 4 worst record for me. Now, I will be fully honest with you. They are this high on my list. And the reason I say high, they are not the worst team because I actually like LaMelo Ball, okay? Charles Lee is their head coach. He joined October 28, 2024. And on May 9th, May 9th, 2024, he became the 12th head coach in Hornets history. Charles Lee is just 40 years old, by the way. So he was part of a team that went 19-63 last year. All right? They also lost 7 consecutive games in the season. But hear me out. If LaMelo Ball is healthy, can this team not be okay? And by okay, I mean not the worst team. Hear me out. They've got Mason Plumlee, who loves going back to Charlotte, and I can't blame him. There are a few places I've been to in my life that I actually want to go back to, like Montana, New York City. Charlotte, North Carolina is one of those places. Charlotte has 5 gigantic shopping malls. If you're 28 years old, that means something, but I like Charlotte. Anyways, LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, the other Curry and Seth Curry, Brandon Miller, who had a gun problem years ago. I'm stupid. Colin Kneppel, or however you say that name, from Duke, has had a very good summer league and is kind of like a sleeper. It's could be a very good player. They also have Yusuf Nurkic, veteran presence Taj Gibson, but don't Google his conspiracy theories. Spencer Dinwiddie, Pat Connaughton. I'll put it this way. The peak of the Hornets, because they do have LaMelo, Miles, Brandon Miller, and even Seth Curry. If a third or fourth guy can step up, what you need is LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges to stay healthy, okay? Miles Bridges, of course, famous for Spectre women. That's okay. I just think the Hornets could be an okay team. Again, fourth worst record is a step up for them, I think. Let me look at the standings. I could be wrong. They had won 19 games last year. They would have been the third worst record last year. So if we're getting their fourth best record, it actually could be better than that because they won 19 games despite LaMelo missing another chunk of the season. Like, he's an injury risk. I don't know what it is about the Ball brothers. They're either injury risks or they like to shoplift in China. Regardless, I think Hornets could be sneaky sometimes. Like, could see some big games from their young stars. Charles Lee is an interesting coach because I haven't really heard much about him. Like, I've heard more about Will Hardy than Charles Lee, but we'll see how that works out. My fifth worst team, and so if you want to let the glass half full, this is my number 25 team in the NBA. The New Orleans Pelicans. And another one where it might be a little bit of bias, probably a lot of bias. The New Orleans Pelicans have got a player I've always liked, and Zion Williamson. Hear me out. When he's healthy, he's not bad. He's pretty stinking good when he's healthy. And just the stats on this man, he averaged last season 24.5 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists on 57% shooting. Like, he's not a bad player, but he's never there. All right? So who do the Pelicans have? Now, granted, by the way, the Pelicans famously gave up an unprotected pick next season, like the season coming up. They have an unprotected pick to the Hawks, okay? I don't know what the heck we're doing conspiracy-wise here, but the Pelicans might have the fifth worst record or worst in the NBA, and they don't even have their draft pick. It's unbelievable. But we're going to get to it here. I also hope my phone doesn't burn up and die, all right? The head coach of the Pelicans is still really green, age 43. Again, it would be nice to get a healthy team, right? So the roster is Zion, DeJounte Murray, another one. When healthy, he's good. Jose Alvarado can be a pest, by the way. Steph Curry's look-alike, Lester Quinones. Elfrid Payton. Kevon Looney, who's an offensive rebounding nightmare. You've also got Sadiq Bey, who can catch fire sometimes. Then you've got, did I say Trey Murphy? I think he can snipe it. Like, he's a really good sniper from 3. Herb Jones is decent. Jordan Poole, I mean, hear me out. If there's a baddie sitting courtside, Jordan Poole's the one you want on the court. But no, Pelicans, this is assuming health. I know you can't do that with Zion or like Anthony Davis or whatever, but Zion Williamson, assuming health, could be worse, okay? I think Zion, DeJounte Murray, head coach Willie Green, Kevon Looney, Jose Alvarado, they got some pieces, man. Basically, all you need is Zion to be really stinking awesome. And what we're going to get that, I don't know. When he's healthy, he's really stinking awesome, we'll have to see. Number 6 worst record, the Chicago Bulls. And I think Billy Donovan, still their head coach. He is, golly, Billy Donovan is 60 now. That's incredible. I never knew this. Billy Donovan was a point guard for the Knicks. That's interesting, actually. He played for Providence. I'm just looking at his history. Played for Providence. Joined the New York Knicks in 1987. Good, great. Well, that explains why teams keep him around. Anyways, I got the Bulls as my number 6 worst record here. And let's take a look at their roster. Now, they were 39-43 last year. So I think they take a step back. Now, the roster is not terrible. Jalen Smith. Have you guys heard of Jameer Young dropping 40 in the summer league? Oh, you heard about that? Okay, well, I just thought I'd say it. Patrick Williams, formerly a top 10 pick. I'm sorry. Taylor Horton-Tucker, former Lakers legend. E.J. Liddell, who had a really good last summer league game. Again, there's not a lot of hope here. Kevin Huerter, who I've always liked, shooting the basketball, redhead nightmare. Nikola Vucevic, Kobe White, who can be a menace. Matas Buzelis, how do you say that name? Can be decent sometimes. You're basically relying on Kobe White and Josh Giddey here. Obviously, Nikola Vucevic can be good too. Trey Jones, by the way, is an underrated piece of this team. For the record, I actually really liked him at Duke. I think he's a decent player. Very underrated Trey Jones at point guard. He might come off the bench. I'm not sure. They got Ayu Dosunmu, more so of a 2K legend there. But hey, they got some pieces, and you're relying on Billy Donovan, Josh Giddey, taking another step forward, and Kobe White and Nikola Vucevic, the staple of consistency there. So there you go. Number 7, worst record, or should I say the number 23 ranked team in the NBA. Give me the Phoenix Suns. All right, so this one, they got Devin Booker. I get it. Now, I just want to mention here, the Phoenix Suns, in my opinion, had one of the low-key best off seasons given what they were given here. They traded Kevin Durant. They paid Bradley Beal $90 million to get the heck out. And here's their roster now. Ball, given health. Grayson Allen, sniper. Nick Richards, not a terrible center. Jalen Green, G League legend, by the way, and now a Rockets outcast. Royce O'Neal, maybe off the bench there. They've also got Dylan Brooks, who's a good, I don't know if he's a good locker room guy, but he's a decent player. And they got Devin Booker, all right? So hear me out. What you're relying on here with the Phoenix Suns is Devin Booker to drop 90 points in the game. Phoenix Suns head coach is Jordan Ott. I don't like the idea. I don't like that Jordan Ott has no NBA experience, all right? And I could have swore I thought about that before I made this list. Oh, by the way, the Suns also have Mark Williams, who was a famous Lakers trade piece until he was like, oh, my knee hurts. Yeah, you're an idiot. Anyways, so Devin Booker, ball. I say ball because I like ball. Grayson Allen, Jalen Green, Mark Williams. This actually feels like the Charlotte Hornets. It feels like the Charlotte Hornets. If they won 5 more games this year. You got the star guard. You got a bunch of has-beens. You got some guys who, if they're healthy, could be really good. We'll see. Got a little bit of faith in these boys. We'll see. Again, I like what they had to operate with Kevin Durant wanting to switch teams again and buying out the ghost of Bradley Beal. Sure, 23rd best team, not the worst thing in the world. And finally, hot take, Damian Lillard, Portland Trailblazers. This team won 36 games last year, all right? I believe their head coach is still Chauncey Billups. I will make sure it is. The 48-year-old who played with the Pistons, won a chip, by the way, has been pretty good Pistons coach, all right? Here's who they have. Damian Lillard, Denny Avdia, who actually is one of the betting favorites for most improved player, believe it or not. Caleb Love, who I really liked in college. Robert Williams, who can jump out of a gym if he doesn't blow out his knee when he comes back down. Jeremy Grant still can be a good player. Scoot Henderson, Shaden Sharp, who's shown flashes. Drew Holiday was the biggest piece they got until they did get Damian Lillard back. Yang Hansen, and by the way, Yang Hansen, have you seen this guy? He looks really good. They also got former Sixers legend Matisse Thybulle, who's a very good defender last time I checked, but I haven't seen him in years. But, Yang Hansen, Denny Avdia's step forward, Robert Williams' health, Jeremy Grant being Jeremy Grant, Drew Holiday, and Damian Lillard. It's not a bad team, and you're coached by Chauncey Billups. Not the worst team in the world, but also the 22nd best. So that's that. I've been going on for 25 minutes here. If you did stick around or watch this thing at all, I appreciate you. It's more of a podcast version here on 12 Ounce Sports. I just thought I'd do a little impromptu. I should probably get back to work, even though I don't have to do anything. Like security guards, we don't do much. We're like Paul Blart. Like, when's the next terrorist attack? I'm ready for it. Oh gosh, I might be in trouble for saying. I'm kidding. All right, thanks for watching and listening. I am Michael Carvelis. Mike's in it first returns Monday, 4 o'clock Eastern. On the docket for that show, I'm going to be talking my top 5 NBA Summer League standouts. I'll talk about why the swing off is stupid. Damian Lillard admitted defeat, and so did I. In Mike's world, I'll break down some Montana Lacrosse League draft and also talk NASCAR at Dover. Ooh. All right. Thanks for tuning in. MSIF underscore TV. Subscribe to 12 on Sports on YouTube. Follow us at 12OZ Sports. Get your tickets for less at 12ouncesports.com/tickets. 12letterozsports.com. Click the tickets tab. I'm out. Have a great night, guys. Bye.